Good day and welcome back to my channel, family. If you're new here, my name is Lizzy and you are welcome to the family. I'm here to help you navigate this complex world of finance and to help you save money, and make your money work harder. So please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Without further ado, we're going to jump straight into today's topic, which is £500 UK government test and trace payment. And the reason for the payment is if you have been notified by the NHS to self-isolate due to the ongoing COVID/Omicron variants going around at the moment, you may be eligible. So what is this £500 government NHS test and trace? So in essence, it's the UK government giving eligible people £500 if they have been told to self-isolate at home, because obviously they may have COVID, or maybe because they have come into contact with someone who has COVID and they have been identified by the NHS as someone who needs to isolate. There are some criteria that needs to be met, which is on the UK government website, and I'm going to just show you now, and then we're just going to look at a few examples from a few different boroughs in London to see how they differ, because some boroughs require different types of evidence in order for you to qualify. But please do bear in mind that if you earn over a certain amount or you're a high rate taxpayer, you will not be able to claim. The £500 amount that they are giving is before tax. So what that means is that it will be taxed. You usually need to be on low income, and we will look at a few examples on a few different borough websites to see what their definition of low income is, because from website to website or borough to borough, they actually do have different criteria. So you may actually be eligible for this. So let's have a look and see what the criteria is and what boroughs around London are offering in terms of the requirements. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, we're looking at this £500 UK government test and trace payment. So what you need to do is you need to type in this into your search engine, or you can just go to Google and just type UK test and trace, or just type test and trace support payment, or just type test and trace £500, and any of those things should take you to this site like this. Now obviously the top will look like how it looks at the top. We're going to scroll down and we're just going to look at the criteria. Now it says you might be eligible for a £500 payment if you're on low income. As I mentioned, you can actually be employed or self-employed. It can actually be for you or your child, and also if you can't work from home. So obviously if you can work from home and you're self-isolating, then unfortunately you'll not be able to apply. And then obviously if you have to self-isolate, that means you're not exempt from isolating, then obviously that's another criterion. It does say here you need to meet all the conditions. So this is the conditions that are shown on the government website, and then you have 42 days to claim from when you or your child's first day of self-isolation. So you have 42 days, which is just over a month, nearly a month and a half actually. So this is the criteria. Now if you read further, there are some other information that is here in terms of more criterias, but I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm just going to quickly jump to the main points. You can get this payment if you are in England. If you're in Wales, Scotland or Ireland, there's different schemes available. Right now, as I've mentioned here, there are different criterias, and obviously at the top it said we need to be on low income. So there's more criteria. If you've tested positive for COVID or been told you're in close contact by someone who has tested positive by NHS test and trace, so they might call or text you, I guess, or via the NHS COVID app. You're not exempt from self-isolating, and you're going to lose income because you can't work from home. So I guess a good example of maybe losing income because you can't work from home, maybe if like you're a delivery driver, because obviously you're delivery drivers, you need to leave your house to go into the car or the van and do deliveries. There are obviously different works as well, and I guess it depends on your employer and whether you can and you can't work from home and what the distinctions are as well. And then obviously if you're employed or self-employed, um, there's also something here about if you're on some of these benefits. But I would just say you're going to just scroll down to the bottom here. It also says if you are a parent or guardian of someone who needs a child who needs to isolate. So there's even more things here in terms of you could also claim if they're under 15 or under 25, certain conditions. In terms of if they have an education, health, and care plan, if they live with you, um, they'd normally be at school or in childcare when obviously they're isolating, and they've been obviously told to self-isolate. And then it says here, there's some other conditions. Says even if you're working, you may still be able to claim if you don't get benefits. Now, if we just scroll down to the bottom here, it says you need to apply for your council. It could be Greenwich, it could be Islington, it could be Hackney, it could be, there's so many different boroughs. Type your postcode here and click find. Now, my laptop's a little bit slow, so I've already done some of the hard work and gone to about 9 different boroughs, put in random postcodes here and gone to their pages. So we're just going to have a quick look and see what these websites are saying. So the first one is Ealing. So Ealing, if you live in Ealing, you'll then come to a page like this after putting your postcode in the last page, and then it just explains to you this test and trace for people on low income and who are asked to self-isolate. And if you be losing income, it says who is eligible, and then the criteria in terms of what you need to have or the evidence you need to have to apply as well. And then some more evidence here. And then it's this site says here there's some additional limited discretion. So yeah, that is for Ealing, sorry, for Ealing. And then it says here what you need to do. You can then read here what you need to do, and then also there's some things in terms of fraud if you lie, and then also data sharing privacy, GDPR. We've heard about that the last couple of years. And then you just click on the button here, apply now. So that's what this one is saying, Ealing. Next on the list we have, what borough is it? Westminster. So Westminster, similar information, test and trace people on low income. It says £500. There's been a change of rules since the 16th of August, so this is what it is. So you can just read it, and then it says here apply as a parent or guardian who has to take time off work, or you can find out if you're eligible and how to apply if you are obviously the person who has to isolate. Next on the list we have Breton. Pop a free dance page, you'll see the £500 they're talking about, the criteria to claim, and then also it says if you have to have a loss of income of some sort, and then it talks about the Omicron variant, and then at the button here apply online. So same thing. This is Greenwich. Now for the borough of Greenwich, similar thing, £500 payment. It says it's for people on low income and they have to self-isolate for 10 days. And then it tells you the criteria you need to be eligible. And it's very important that NHS test and trace have contacted you to tell you need to isolate, whether it's through the app, or whether they've called or text you, or maybe even email. It's very important that they contact you and you have something as proof to say, yes, they have contacted me. And so, yeah, so this also says 42 days from the start of your isolation you can claim. And it says here very clearly it's a taxable payment. So obviously if you pay tax at 20%, then you will not get £500, you'll get £500 net, 20% tax and any other tax they may take from you. It does say here they're not going to remove any national insurance contributions, so that's good. And then if if you scroll here, you can click apply, and then apply depending on whether you're a parent or guardian or whether you're applying for yourself. Right, next on the list, this is for Hackney. For Hackney, it says here the criteria is £500 payment. It says if you're eligible, you need to live in Hackney, and there's similar criteria to the other sites we've looked at. It also says that you need to have an NHS test and trace 8-digit ID number. So that number you would get from your NHS test and trace app if you have one, or if they call or text you or email you, you should get a number or a digit or something that's eight characters, digits long, and that's what you use. You can scroll through here to check out the detailed requirements, and then if you are eligible, you click here apply. Now this is Newham. So with Newham, it's a similar thing as well. It says here the maximum payment is 7 through 8.43. So this is a bit different to the other £500 we have been seeing. So Newham's a bit different. I'm not really sure why, but I guess if you live in Newham, you can obviously do more research to find out why it's a bit more higher than the normal £500. And then obviously it states below all the requirements. It says you need to have one of these things. So obviously one of these to show you're kind of on low income, and you've lost income from not being able to work from home. And then if those things apply to you, you click apply. Now this is Enfield. Now Enfield, it's £500 if you cannot work from home and have lost income while self-isolating. It says here quite detailed what you need. You need a copy of your bank statement, proof of self-employment, proof of employment or self-employment obviously, proof of your NHS test and trace notification telling you to self-isolate. So that could be through the app, that could be through a text, maybe even a call, I don't know, or maybe an email. I'm not sure the different ways they communicate exactly, but they would obviously communicate with you in writing somehow. You need your national insurance number, and then there's some additional information if you're claiming because of a child who's had to self-isolate. So there's additional information criteria here, and then when you're ready, you just click start. This is Southwark. Now Southwark Council Borough, it's similar thing. If you've tested positive, you have less than £600 a week in income, you're employed or self-employed, you've been instructed to self-isolate by NHS test and trace, you live in the borough of Southwark, you've lost earnings or income, and it says here in terms of if you've been fully vaccinated since the 16th of August, you may or may not have to self-isolate. So yeah, you can just read the full criteria, and it says £500, and then you just scroll to the bottom, scroll in, and you click the big green button here that says apply. And then finally, this is Islington. So with Islington, this is £500 as well. You need to have a permanent address in the borough of Islington. You have to be told to self-isolate by NHS test and trace or by the NHS COVID-19 app, and being able to prove that NHS has contacted you. You need to be employed or self-employed, losing income because you're self-isolating, and then yeah, it says £500, and there's some other details here if you want to read. If you're living in Islington, you scroll down to the end where it says how to apply. It says it will take you 10 minutes. You need your NHS test and trace number, which I mentioned above. They will obviously provide you maybe by call or text or through the app if you have the app. You need an email address, a recent bank statement, wage slip or pay slip, and so yeah, and then if it's for a child that needs to be off, you just provide some extra information that they asked for. It says it takes 10 minutes to apply. When you're ready, you click the button here, apply. Now that's basically the councils. This is just 9 I randomly selected. I just put postcodes from across London in North, East, South, and West London. So you can see in the 9 we looked at, there's at least one from North London, which is Islington. East London, you had Newham and Hackney. South London, we had Greenwich, we had Southwark. West London, we had places like Westminster as well. So just to show that this is not restricted to one borough in London, it's across all the boroughs in London. And I know that rates are going up quite a lot at the moment each day. So you may have to stay at home, and if you are, you may want to look at applying for this test and trace COVID-19 payment, because obviously you're using income and you may be eligible for this free money that is from the government because you're staying at home. Also, it just says here, this is just back to the UK government website, it's just more um, details in terms of what you need for your application. You need a bank statement, proof of employment or self-employed, your NHS test and trace number, which I've said quite a few times you will get from your NHS app, or they will either, I think, call you or text you, or maybe even email you with your 8-digit ID number. And that's it on it's NHS, £500 free government money for COVID-19, having to self-isolate if you're on low income, or if you're losing money from self-isolating, or a few different criteria. And we've looked at 9 different boroughs, and we've seen that a few of them do have some discretionary. So even though you may not exactly meet all their criteria, there may be discretionary payment you can apply for still. Now, with all of these boroughs, one thing to note is you can apply more than once. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you had to self-isolate in November, then you have to self-isolate again in December, you can actually make 2 separate applications for £500. So it'll be £500 for November, £500 for December. So obviously if you've had to self-isolate, let's say 12 times in 2021, then obviously you would apply 12 times, and each one would be for £500. I did mention as well during going through these boroughs that there was a bit on fraud. So obviously the government does not want you to lie if you do not need to lie, or to claim funds forcefully. So obviously do bear that in mind as well. And so that's what I wanted to say on this NHS test and trace scheme, which is giving people £500 if you're on low income and you meet certain conditions. I would advise you do go onto the website if you have been advised to self-isolate, and then obviously type in your postcode at the bottom, go to your borough and check what you need, and see if you're eligible to apply, because it's free money, and who doesn't love getting some free money when you can, especially from the government. It's Christmas period and a lot of people have overspent, so it might be good to get some money back if you can. That's all for today. I hope you were able to take 1 or 2 things from this video, and please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye and God bless.